Hey everyone, welcome to a little bit of woo woo. I'm your host, Jill Thomas. I'm recording this on Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to you. I thought today I would give you some information on how to tell if a psychic reader is the right one for you. And I'm sharing this because I had a really odd reading experience at a metaphysical bookstore. I went in and I just did a reading because I thought it would be fun, and it turned out the reader had no skills whatsoever. And I'm like, but the average person doesn't know how to tell if somebody is someone they should work with or somebody they shouldn't. So I thought I'd just give you a few tips and tools. So a lot of times when people go to a metaphysical bookstore to have a reading, it's an impulse purchase. They went in with a buddy, maybe they're going to get a book, maybe a crystal, and then they saw that there were readers on, so they thought they would just get a short reading and see, right? It could be fun. And it can. It's absolutely fun. Sometimes if they give you information that's not very nice or inaccurate, it can put something in your head that's not really true. So it's important for you to sort of see the skills of the person. So first thing you want to do is usually the bio of the reader who's on duty is available for you to read. You can just look through it and see what their skills are, how they connect. You can also just ask them, how do you connect with spirit? How do you get the information? Sometimes they will say, I use tarot cards. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes they will say, I use oracle cards. That does not require as much skill as tarot cards. So, just take that for what it is. The other thing people will say sometimes is they connect with client spirit guides or they connect with the angels. That's a different type of reading too. So some readers will give you more predictive information. For an example, they might say you're going to meet somebody on Thursday. He drives a brown BMW. It's 5:00. It's going to be raining. That's interesting information, can be helpful. Sometimes though, the bigger picture, the what's going on in your life information that different kinds of readers can do is also more helpful, particularly if they're connecting with your spirit guides the way I do. And they want, your spirit guides may have something they want you to know, or they might have a direction they want you to follow. The other thing you should know is that 20 minutes isn't a really long time. A lot of times when people go to metaphysical bookstores, they book a 20-minute reading. It's not a lot of information. So if you were to book a 40-minute reading, it's not that you would get twice as much information. You'd actually probably get 3 times as much information, because as soon as the reader starts to really get a feel for your energy and starts to really connect with your spirit guides, if that's how they're doing it, or however else they're getting the information, the information starts to really flow. So a lot of times the second half of the reading is where you're going to get the better information. So just be aware of that longer is exponentially better than the short little readings. If you're going to do a short reading, just make sure you come in with just maybe 1 or 2 questions. Am I going to get this job? What do I need to know about this job? Am I going to get laid off? Shorter little punchier questions are better for the short readings. Also, don't go into a reading and say, hey, just tell me what's going to go on for me. What's coming in my life. That's tough unless the person knows you. I mean, if a client I've been working with for a while says, I want to know what's going on, I can usually get that information. But if it's a stranger and I'm just tuning into them, it's a little harder to get accurate information. I would say I could still get something, but the more accurate information will come with when you've had a relationship with this person. So the other thing is, we don't want you to ask questions you don't want the answer to. So if you don't want to know if your boyfriend is cheating on you, don't ask if your boyfriend is cheating on you. Also, that question is not that helpful. It's not full of really good information. If you're wondering if your partner is seeing other people, then you already know there's something iffy in your relationship, and maybe you need to look at that. Even if they aren't doing it, maybe you're not getting what you need from the relationship. The other thing you want to pay attention to is metaphysical bookstores tend to screen this better than other locations, but there's something that's kind of not nice in psychic readings. It's the reader who says you've got curses or attachments and you need to come see me 3 times a week for the next 5 years. I'm the only way of getting rid of those. Oh my God, don't get me started on how awful that is. So I've worked at metaphysical bookstores that would actually fire people who would do that, because it really is just a way to get people to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. If you're good at what you do, people will come back over and over again when they have questions or they want guidance. The other thing I think people don't realize, a lot of times people go in for a reading, it's not necessarily because they actually want the information. Sometimes, and ladies, you know what I'm talking about, you want a conversation that is just about you, right? You have conversation with a girlfriend. Oh, this happened to me. That happened to me. I'm going through that same thing. When it's a reading, it is really just the focus on you. what your needs are, what's important to you. And a really good reader can present even not as pleasant information in a positive and loving way. The other thing I get a lot of questions about when people come in for readings is they think they're off path, or they want to know if their guides are mad at them or if the universe is mad at them. No, no. Your guides love you. Your guides love you so much. They just want you to be happy. And when you do things that you feel like weren't in your best interest, or when they feel like aren't in your best interest, they're not mad at you. They just want you to get back on path so that you can get things in your life that make you happier, because ultimately that's what they want. Ultimately, a reading really is about love. Most of the questions that I get asked as a reader are a variation of the question, am I loved? Am I going to get this job? Does the universe love me? What does my mother think about me? Am I going to get along with my brother and sister? Is this guy I'm dating really somebody who is he really interested in me? There's a lot of questions, but ultimately the bigger picture is, am I loved by spirit? Am I loved by God? Whatever you call it, right? The answer is yes, you are. Do my guides love me? Yes. Are they mad at you? No. Are they with you all the time? Absolutely. They want you to know that you're loved. They want you to know that you are valued and cared about. And you don't need me to tell you that, but I absolutely will if you book an appointment. So I'm just saying, pay attention to those things. I will say that metaphysical bookstores tend to screen readers more than if you just go to somebody's website and find them. If you find somebody on YouTube, though, watch their videos and see if you like their resonance. See if they're saying things that make sense to you. The more similar, I would say, you are to the reader, the easier for them to be able to pick up the symbols that your guides might be passing to you. And also, I know sometimes clients, when they see a deck of tarot cards, they think the person's cheating. It's like cheating. But if you only knew how hard it is to get a feel for that deck, and to get a feel for how the information is delivered through tarot cards, you wouldn't think it was cheating. It is a very special skill. It takes a lot of years to learn. I would say doing a tarot card reading can actually be harder than an intuitive reading, because of the way the symbols, if they interact, if one particular card is next to another card, it has a different meaning than if it's next to a different card. I just want you to understand that's just a different way of getting information. And don't knock somebody who's doing it that way. A lot of times too, a tarot card reading is bigger picture. Whereas if you're just wanting to know something specific, about a job that you've applied for, am I going to get it? That kind of thing. That usually we get that information in a different way. So I hope this was helpful. I do have someone coming in on next week who's going to talk to us about channeling, and she's going to do a channeling demonstration and actually talk to you about how channeling works, because people ask me about that one all the time. And I'm so glad to have someone who does channeling. I do channeling as well, but I'm glad to have a guest on who's going to talk about that next week. So I hope this information was helpful. If you have any specific questions you'd like to know about, just put it in the chat. I will look at that, and maybe we'll talk about that on a future guest episode. Thanks so much. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye.